Yo, what is up, family? It's your man, Pastor Shorty, and I'm back at you with another episode of Break the Huddle podcast. And remember, this is the podcast for the Christian student athlete to be empowered and encouraged through testimonies. And most of all, remember, we're unashamed. We're breaking chains in Jesus' name. And I want to give a big shout out to my sponsor, Full Force Heating and Cooling. And for those that are in the area, check them out at 205-577-1156. One more time, that's 205-577-1156. Let's go on and get into it. I don't want to delay. And our quote of the week is pretty simple, and I've heard it many times, but we're going to go with it. If you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. One more time. If you are not part of the solution, you are part of the problem. Now we're going to hit our scripture of the week. And it comes from Matthew 9:37-38. He said to his disciples, "The harvest is great, but the workers are few. So pray to the Lord who is in charge of the harvest. Ask him to send more workers into the field." Whew. Send more workers, Lord. I'm saying that right now. Send more workers. Well, let me introduce my guest. I am totally excited about my sister here. She is the founder of Perry's Empowering LLC, founder and executive director of Youth Talk United, a graduate of UAB, and she got a bunch of initials behind her name, so she's like that. So I need y'all to show some love for my sister, Coach Erika, Empowering Perry. Give it up for y'all.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You ain't got me excited and everything coming in hot like that.
Hey, this part of the hip hop culture, so we got to do it like that, So I'm excited that you're here. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get in trouble, so I want you to go on and give your shout outs to whoever, so they don't get mad at me.
First of all, shout out to you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for this platform. It's
Amen.
Amazing. Such a blessing. Just you hit me up and say, "Hey, be on," and I was like, "No doubt," because it's so needed. So definitely kudos to you for stepping up and doing something that so many people are struggling and don't want to do. So shout out to you, Pastor.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and most definitely shout out to all my family and friends. As I said before, I don't want to say anybody I missed anybody, but I love everybody. So I'm just shouting out everybody.
Hey, we can get down with that.
Everybody that's doing something positive, keep going, keep growing. Let's go.
That's it. Let's go. Okay. You done gave shout outs. We do this thing called rapid fire, and we're going to get into it. So I don't want to miss nothing. I want you to go on and
Let's go.
All right. Favorite old school family sitcom?
Martin, most definitely.
Oh, you shooting. Favorite cartoon?
PJs.
Oh, woo. You don't went there.
I'm old school.
Yeah, you don't went there. Favorite female athlete, past or present?
Asia Wilson, because she's changing the game in so many different ways, young and old.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that one. If you could sit down with one coach to talk, who would it be?
Coach Don. All day.
Oh, Don Staley.
All day.
Okay, yeah. Great one right there. Okay. Besides Jesus, someone that you study in the Bible.
Mary.
Okay.
She was ambitious. She had to go through so many struggles.
Mm-hmm.
She also had to be a mother and also had to sit back on the side when her child was doing something that she expected him not to do.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hey, let's go. All right, let's start from the beginning.
Yes,
all right, where'd you graduate high school?
Inslee Magnet High School.
Right here in Birmingham.
Come on now, for all the other haters coming, don't do that. Inslee Magnet High School.
Okay, right here in the Ham. Okay,
Yes.
So you homegrown.
Homegrown, Birmingham, Alabama.
All right. Now, what sports did you play in high school?
Man, I had the pleasure of playing all sports. Funny thing is, soccer was my first love. I actually fell in love with soccer in elementary school, went through, middle school and had coaches that seen and was like, "Hey, can you do this with a basketball?" And which then basketball became that ongoing love that I was able to play up into collegiate level.
Okay. Now, after high school, what was your recruiting process like then?
Horrible.
Okay.
We're just going to be real, because we're going to be real on Breaking Huddles, right?
That's what we have. We have real talk, because I want to hear horror stories. I want to hear the good stuff, too.
It was horrible. I'm blessed to be able to have sports. What I've learned through my challenges in life, that sports was an outlet for others and not for me. So I had to go through those things. But playing there, as many know that, especially girls sports, as it's still going through a challenging situation to grow, it was so much then. Love the sisters and people that I've met at Inslee High School, but we did not have the sufficient coaches and the people that was there to really work us. But shout out to some of the coaches, like my boy Coach Boom, he's like a pop to me. He had one of those coaches that really poured into me, seeing that it was so much strife in sports. And I always tell him if I can only be half of what he was to me and so many other athletes, it would be a blessing. So he was one of those, but we had other coaches that was there, kind of like for now, a lot of coaches to get accolades and say that they're coaching or say they're getting a stipend, but not actually help our youth. So many of us was going through so many challenging situations as myself, and sports was my outlet from home, from things that I was going through. So sometimes we get into places, as many coaches do, and we channel the gold instead of channeling the feeling of what's going on with that student athlete.
Okay.
So that was my
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Let's talk about the challenges you dealt with.
Challenge just growing up. I was an athlete that played all the way up to a collegiate level, and my mom only attended one game. She attended at halftime. Again, one of the things that I study is emotional intelligence and mental health and wellness, background psychology, all those things that we may get into later. So it was something through therapy I had to go through and understanding that she was not taught certain things, so she wasn't able to pour that to me. Did it hurt? Yes, it hurt. But through that situation, I learned to be grounded as the person that I am because I didn't have support system. A lot of people are going to look at this podcast, are going to hear it and be like, wow, man, you played ball. We never know that you did not have any support system at the game. I was that kid that every time I looked in the stands, when that tip-off hit, I still imagined somebody was there. So it led to me not devoting myself on other people, but praying, God, whatever your will is, so let it be done for me when I'm doing this. And that's why I realized his will was for me to be that person for that next kid, which led to me coaching.
Okay.
So now imagine my coaches had to walk me down for senior nights. Imagine my coaches had to pay and help me with student package. And I was blessed to do the same thing from other kids because I didn't have that support system. I had nobody to say, how was your game? I had nobody to say, how you feeling today? I didn't have that. So I played sports and I went home. I played sports and I went home. It was nice that I would go home and my whole night consisted of crying until I got up the next day to go into the gym because the gym was where I felt love. That's where I felt important. That's where I felt seen. And so God blessed me to be able to see that in other youth too and understand that kid is a reflection of me. That's my mirror.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, you there. Let me go here with you. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I used to do the same thing. Look up in the stands, and I'm like, nobody's there.
Right.
So I get where you're coming from. Totally get where you're coming from on that. And I made a decision, and I said this many times, we speak things, and we don't know that we're putting them into existence with our faith. As a kid, I said, I will never be like my dad. And I said, I will support my kids and be at all the things I can. I can count on one hand how many games I missed to my son, period. I'm talking about he played all three sports for a long time, and then I can count on one hand. My daughter's dances, recitals, and all that, didn't miss none of it because I knew that I never had that.
That feeling.
So I'm going to share this, and then we're going to move on. But when I got out of the military, I had to go to a psychiatrist. And going through that process, I sat down with the psychiatrist, gave him a background and everything, and told her about the wars and all that stuff. But and after I went through this for about 45 minutes, she looked at me and she said, so you came from a dysfunctional family. And that did something to me because, in the hood, everybody about the same. So
because in the hood, it's dysfunctional but functional because it's the norm in society,
it's the norm.
And culture. So we think it's okay.
It's normal. So, and I was like, no, I wasn't dysfunctional. And I sat up there and debated with her. And then I was like, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
And I sat in my car and cried. And God spoke to me so clearly, I'll never forget it. He said, your dysfunction is your function.
Come on.
And like you said, you see that kid, you see that one that mirrors you, whether it's male or female,
Most
and you see that, and you can't give up on them.
You can't.
And I realized some of them lashing out because, and because that's what they know.
Yeah.
And so I feel you totally on this. Oh, you done tapped in.
I
We
love
being
it.
real. We being straight up real tonight.
Already.
All right. Now, your recruiting process was crazy. So, what college did you end up playing ball at?
I ended up playing ball at Concordia College in Selma. One of the things I'm gonna say, players, even though the coaches weren't there, I still knew that I'm an individual and I have to do for me. And I want to say that because a lot of athletes feel like my coaches should be doing this or my coaches should be doing that. And we got to understand, too, again, we'll probably get into later of why I work with coaches on emotional intelligence. Not every coach is not emotionally fit to be a coach. So, which means you got to be emotionally aware yourself to be able to know what you're doing to get yourself to the next level. And that's parents, too.
Yes.
So when that means parents too as well, making sure your kid know the ins and outs if they want to go to the next level, because the next level is about them. It's not about that coach.
That is
that
it.
coach is getting a paycheck. Your kid is trying to get a paycheck. So I also had academics too. Graduated on top of my class. That was one of the great things all the way up to collegiate level. So I had honors and scholarship. So I
Okay.
always had something else to fall back on. But I knew that because of the escalade of the sports, I was like, I gotta have something else. And I wasn't ashamed to say, I was looking at other players and stuff, other schools like, yo, they bad. They better than us. Some of us don't want to admit it. Yeah, they better than us. So, yes, I worked twice as harder, but some of those kids that I noticed, and you know, no shade to nobody, I worked twice as hard also in my grades because I know some of those kids was very talented, but they wasn't actually disciplined in their education as me. So I knew that even if basketball wasn't going, I can still do something with it, but in the educational aspect, which then led to me opening my nonprofit.
Okay.
So yes, Concordia College was an amazing college. It wasn't far from home. It allowed me to go, but came back home. Shout out to Lawson State. Go Cougars. Also finished up pre-social work at Lawson State. So as an athlete, there's nothing wrong with coming back home as well and being that. So that's kind of how, you know, my journey went.
So, did you play at Lawson?
No, I didn't end up playing at Lawson. By that time when I came, it was already, you know, transition. God was told me it's time for you to actually make a community for the youth and athletes. And I went straight into, okay, I'm coming back home. I was lost. I went off to college. I had no actually support system big like that with parents and everything. So I had to come back home. You know, I was that kid when they say noodles. Oh, yeah, that was my thing. I was that noodles kid, you know, because, again, the support system was still lacking. And a lot of people still didn't know that I was lacking all this because I had a persona of the functional household. So I had to present that. So it was like you can't continue to function trying to play sports and you're barely getting everything going in time. It's time for you to go home. So I had to make a decision myself because my parents wasn't asking. I was like, I'm finna come home. Came home and I knew, okay, I can go to Lawson. I still got my academics. I can get a full scholarship from there.
Yeah.
With there, did that, and now I'm saying, how can I help kids that are feeling just like me? And that's where it developed to Youth Talk United, just having youth and young adults to be able to come and talk about everyday social issues without being judged and being open about those things. And I knew that was my purpose driven from sports was to continue to help youth and young adults that looked like me.
Man, that right there, that speaks volumes because in the college realm, you said you really didn't even have the support from home because your folk don't really know.
Yeah.
You know, so with that aspect of it, how did you just tap in? You were driving yourself, but I guess what was driving you? What kept you? I know God kept you.
Yeah.
But when you said I gotta be better, and you know, like I told you earlier, sometimes you gotta look at the end goal.
Yeah.
And so what was that kept you going?
I want it better for me. Like, my thing is always, if won't no one love and do me as great as me, then who will? So I knew I had to do better for me. I couldn't just settle. And growing up on the western side of town in Birmingham, you know, you see some of the same old stuff. And it's like, are you going to fall for the same thing or you want to do better? And I always said, regardless of what I'm going to do it great and I'm going to do it better.
Yes.
You know, and it's easy to fall to the norm of your society and just want less. But I was like, man, I want better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, a lot of it was a reflection of, okay, my folks wasn't there, but I'm going to show you I can still do it regardless.
Yeah.
And again, even though background, psychology therapists and all that, I had to go to therapy too as yourself. So nothing wrong with therapy to say, okay, stop trying to get back at your family for what they didn't understand or they didn't know. And do what you have to do. Because once I left that emotional aspect of what my mom and my dad and all of them didn't do, look, you're born in the world for a certain reason.
Yeah.
So after your parents and did what they had to do, the next thing is what you going to do. Are you going to follow your journey that God gave you? Their journey is already developed. And I understood at a certain point, my parents' journey was, their journey was to do just better than what their parents did.
Yes.
Their parents is to do better than what their parents did because they wasn't educated and taught. So where do you fall and say, I'm going to do better, but I'm also not going to fault my parents for what I'm doing now because it's my life now.
Yeah.
So mine was, I want to do better for me. So that was my grind mode. Like every day was like, how can I be a better person? How can I be a better servant?
Yes.
When I started learning that servantship can open so many doors, it was just me going to places. How can I serve? How can I help? How can I volunteer? How can I give back?
Yeah.
And God opened doors from there.
Now, you started your nonprofit. Name of the nonprofit again?
Youth Talk United.
And is that the one we got the website for?
Yes. No, it's on there too as well. Coach Perry Speaks is on there, but you can also put Youth Talk United on there.
Okay.
Under that nonprofit, it's all about just uniting youth together to talk.
Jacob, could you put up the website? Awesome. Yeah. CoachPerrySpeaks.com. Please go check that out. I went on there and I was like, oh yeah. and you please go check it out, and we'll put it up there again later, so it'll be on there, and we'll also put it in the comments when we finish up. Okay, you hit the ground running. So when you started the serving portion, when did you realize, okay, I want to get into the schools, get into the athletic programs or whatever programs? Let's talk about the grind of that, trying to get in.
Oh, it's still a grind.
Okay, it's still a grind. Okay, me and you in the same boat.
We're going to be for real.
Yeah, hey, it's still a grind because that's the reason I like using that. See, we continue to see the problem, and then we present solutions, and it's almost like, well, that ain't the solution I want.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if people want toys, games, and I told you about our tour we were doing, and we were doing it with no sponsorship. We would just make it happen. And what is it, when you go in there that you present everything? I'm talking about statistics. I know you presenting all that.
The great thing about it, I always try to go in as an athlete and also as a coach. But we're going to be real on here. A lot of that doesn't mean anything when you got so many friendships in these schools. And when you got so many friendships in schools, they can't see clearly because they only see their friend from coach or norm or the hood.
Yeah.
And when you escape those things, then you can open up more for these youth. But one of my things why I established that nonprofit was to be able to seek out funding and seek out people that want to actually help and don't really just want to be seen. So through that part of it, I've recently had grants that I've went into school, and shout out some of the schools: Huffman High School, Carver High School, Parker High School, and other schools I've reached out to. Some have not, reached back because, like you say, trying to get into the schools, but had funding through the nonprofit where I was able to survey over 100-some youth. I just really took that post down where people can still go on the website and they click a survey where I went into schools, and over 100-some different girls I was able to survey. And from that survey, we found out at least over 70% of our student female athletes are not aware of mental health or do not understand mental health. And now this is actually statistics that I went and I actually got and had them to do that part of it. So it was other schools that seen that, and I reached out to these ADs and these coaches and gave them the information showing this, saying this is what's going on. From that, we was also able to sit into these rooms with these young girls and ask them, what are some things you want to be a better student athletes? And behold, because of the work, we did have some guys that come in too and also say, we don't understand. It's just a word that we know or we see that's like a trigger word.
Yeah.
But my thing is to be proactive. So our nonprofit is all about giving them that room to talk and be proactive of understanding what is mental health, but how to execute in your well-being with the understanding of you can talk to people when things are going on. It's okay to say you don't feel well. It's okay to say you feel hurt. It's okay that you don't understand. So that has been a blessing to me because the grant funding that I have been getting been coming from other places.
Got you.
That's been providing me funding for. And my thing is, I've been going into the city saying, let me come into the schools. But they're like, okay, yeah, but we got this portion and we got that going on. But I'm like, how much more are we going to put off the kids' well-being?
Come on.
Before we realize that no matter what you put, no matter what trombone you put up there, no matter what new bleachers you put in the school, no matter what motivation, because motivation failed without understanding.
Yeah.
that we have to actually go to the cure of it, and that's the human being of those athletes, and most important, the coaches too. Because also what I've spoken with coaches too, and a lot of coaches that are in this field, they have spoken about their mental health and their well-being too, because every day they are struggling with kids that they know are not in sufficient homes.
Oh, come on. Let's tap into that.
Let's go.
With coaches, everybody's leaning on the coach.
Yeah.
So the coaches try to be strong. With my guy Jay Vincent out of Atlanta, he went to a school where they just had multiple kids murdered. Yeah. And he went to help, and they basically blew him off. Mm-hmm. And that right there, the average coach doesn't even want to tap into this, that they need mental health.
Yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to Coach Barber, Darryl Barber over at Pinson Valley, because when Caleb White died, he made sure that mental health was there.
That's good.
He made sure of that. Even though I was coming, he was also making sure they had professionals there as well. Mm-hmm. And they did that for weeks. And I really want to give him a shout out that he recognized.
Did some amazing things.
Yeah,
on social media.
because he recognized that it was bigger than just us.
Yeah.
And that right there. So dealing with coaches, how often or have you been able to talk to coaches about their mental well-being?
I had the blessing of talking to some amazing coaches. Doors Playbook, that's my YouTube channel. I've had some coaches come over there and talk about some things, and we're going to be doing some more of that. That is one of the things that I am tapping into now. As a former athlete, I understand that the athletes need it, but we also understand that we have to tap into the head to be able to lead effectively. Mm-hmm. So one of the programs that I actually teach to some of the coaches that are okay with coming out and talking about it is Rewire Formula. And it's a formula that I use called Think, Feel, and Lead. And it's all about rewiring our coach's mindset of how culture norms was, that what I say should go and what I do should go. But the coaches got to be open to say, okay, I'm willing to take this in, and what I used to do not work now. And means I have to work on my emotions, because a lot of coaches are still held back on how a coach used to treat them. So now they want to bring that to the coach. So it's about tapping into your emotional intelligence and saying, okay, let me think about this. Am I really still needed in this field? How can I be better in this field? Okay, things are going on with the AD and the parents. How can I regulate my emotions? And now that I regulate it, how can I lead and control? And lead and control means controlling yourself. As we talked earlier, once you're controlling yourself, then you're able to control your environment and your team around you. Mm-hmm. But when coaches are scared to tap into that, it affects them, because culturally, coaches are said that they are supposed to be the strong, they're supposed to be the leader.
Yes.
So once you start saying that I have a problem or I'm not feeling well, then it's seen as a weakness and you're no longer able to be a coach. So I would love my platform, what I'm doing now is helping to break those chains of having a coach to say, you know what, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. That's natural, that's human. How many people got kids that say they tired and overwhelmed, but they still parenting?
That's it.
So it's the same thing. It's making sure that we are getting the same kind of information to our coaches, our sports leaders and ADs as we're doing our athletes as well. Because as a coach, I feel I would have been a better coach within the 10 and a half years I coached if I was more in tune with my emotional intelligence of saying that, you know what, that parent I don't even need to talk to. That kid right there, I ain't even finna keep putting them on the team just because everybody say they good. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to reroute that kid to get some help.
Yeah.
And then let them come back next semester. Like, how can we rewire how we used to think about stuff? And another thing with coaches is just the temperament. A lot of our coaches, you know, back in the day, we grew up where you could holler and cuss at some kids, but you can't do that every day with kids now.
No.
They're hollering, that cussing, and putting fear in them. These kids transfer important. They be here today and gone tomorrow.
Yes.
So what you're doing actually brings more animosity upon you, and you're overhurt. And now you want to be mad at the team because what you used to do, because how people used to coach you in a negative way, you think that solution is good. No, we got to rewire how you think. Yeah. Just because a coach hit you, that don't mean you got to try to bring the same thing to that kid.
It don't work.
So it's all about just rewiring that, and also having coaches to say, okay, I would like to take this in. Because I teach you more as a professional development of how can I be a better professional, but also how can I be a better person if I learn how to regulate my emotions in a more healthy way.
Yeah.
And then I can do that to my kids, because our kids watch us. When you're a coach, everything you do, we see that all the time, especially with this AAU and stuff. However that coach act, those kids act. They are resemble you. You are their parent then. But if you come with a more wholesome attitude because you're tapped into how you lead, then you're able to lead better. But again, our schools have to be more open and saying that every coach that we have coaching is not fit to be a coach. And if we want them fit to be a coach, we got to start with the well-being of the coach and not just the accolades or because they Facebook famous.
Principals, tap into that. What she just tap into that, not just because of accolades.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they win with the players that they got. They don't coach them. They just win with the players.
Yeah.
Let's be for real. Let's be for real.
Some of these kids on teams been playing since Little League. So you put them on the inside of a game, and you don't even have to give them a play. You can just tell them to go out there and win.
Yeah.
But because, like you said, that they are on that team, the coach is seen as this horrific coach. All of it, and that's the coaches that have amazing, kids on the group. It's just being real with it. You put a lot of these coaches on some other teams that don't have star players, they wouldn't even be a coach.
Exactly. Exactly. That's real talk. Oh my God. Yeah, you coming back. You're gonna be in the rotation. You're gonna be on the rotation. You're gonna be on the rotation. You don't hit the coaches. We didn't even really get a chance to tap into parents. We didn't get a chance.
Man, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
right
we're
there.
gonna have to tap into the parent side of it next time. Do me a favor, Jacob, and put the giving tools on the screen. You can give at bgtvstudios.com and Venmo BGTV Studios, and also Cash App $BGTV Studios. Man, Coach Erika Perry, you came up in here with guns blazing. I believe we got some people, they got cut a little bit and they got grazed a little bit, and we believe in God that it touched them. If they need to get at you, please check that website. We put it back up there. It's in the chat. So, man, we had a great time.
Yeah, let's connect. I'm open, to anyone that really wants to level up their game emotionally.
Yeah.
As well as a whole being. Let's connect. Let's check my background, and also as well as the educational. It speaks for itself. So I'm just like, I want to help people win, and helping people win means actually targeting our aspect of us or who we are as a real person.
You done said it right there.
Yeah.
We're going to go on and get out of here. Say your website one more time.
Hey, Erika Perry is the name, but Coach Erika Perry. You can catch me at CoachPerrySpeaks.com. Please don't hesitate to reach out all social media platforms, and definitely follow the YouTube channel, Doors Playbook.
Oh, love it. Hey, it's been a blessing, and I'll see y'all next time. And remember, we're unashamed, breaking chains in Jesus' name, and we are out of here.